Well, hi guys. Coach Jerry here at the Protocol in Tucson, Arizona, and welcome to the October Mobility Warm-Up. Fall is here. Football is back on TV. The air outside is crisp. I think we're filming this today. The high is only going to be 104 degrees. It's going to be awesome. In all seriousness, by the time you're watching this video, the weather is going to start to cool down. And one of the things we get spoiled to in Tucson is during the summertime, when we go to warm up, we don't really have to warm up that seriously. I mean, you can basically just get in and move around a little bit. You're pretty much ready to go. Once the weather starts to get a little bit chilly, especially for those classes, those of you that are rolling in here in the early morning, you're going to notice that your body is just a little bit stiffer than it normally is. So please, 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 during the month of October, November, as your body is kind of going through that adaptive change or the season change, please take your warm-ups a little bit more seriously. We are going to be doing a lot of spine stuff, a lot of stuff on the ground here, just trying to really get the back warmed up, the hips warmed up. So when you get in and start doing all those deadlifts and swings and whatnot, you're not going to feel cold and stiff. So let's go ahead and get started with the warm-up. The first thing that we're going to do is what's called a rolling 45 pattern. It is, in layman's terms, alternating the first move of the Turkish get-up, left and right, left and right. We're going to be doing this for 60 seconds. So if you guys do it together in the class, your instructor can have a ready, set, go. If you guys are coming in and warming up at your own speed, you can just use the clock on the wall. But basically, you're going to come into this start of a Turkish get-up position, and you're just going to roll up to the elbow, come down, and as you're coming down, you're going to switch sides. So the speed that you're going to be working at is about the speed that you see me going. And we're going to be doing this for 60 seconds. Now, once you get about 30 to 40 seconds in, you're going to start to notice that there's just a nice, happy little bird in your abs. That's good for you. Now, once you get to the 60 seconds, we're going to go to one empty Turkish get-up. So once that 60 seconds hits, I'm going to get in here and do my one empty Turkish get-up. Come down to the floor. And when I get there, I'm going to switch, just like I did with the rolling 45 pattern, and come into an empty Turkish get-up. For those of you who are working a Turkish get-up program, in other words, you may not be doing full get-ups yet, you can just do whichever Turkish get-up is in your level that's in your wheelhouse. Might be a half get-up, might be a three-quarter get-up, could be everything but the lunge. Whatever your Turkish get-up variation is what you'll do in that last repetition. Once we're finished with those rolling 45s and that empty get-up, we're going to come into what we call a figure 4 position. Now, some of you are not going to have the knees to be able to do the full version of this, so I'm going to demonstrate a couple of different options. So I have the foot underneath me here is tucked in. This front foot is out far enough to where I can roll forward onto it, similar to the bridge of the Turkish get-up. So the position is going to move from this to this. Now, there's a little bit of an abdominal engagement here. Maybe at first you just practice rolling from one side to the other. Maybe you can go up into a high bridge, which will look like this. Now, if your knees can tolerate it, we're going to do the same thing, but stay really, really low to the ground. So that's going to look like this. I'm going to start by using a little cheater hand back here, and I'm just going to shoot forward and roll over this bottom leg. When I come back, switch sides, tuck under, shoot forward on that other leg. When you do it in time, you're trying not to use your hands, and you're just trying to give yourself a little bit of a roll. Now, this may look easy, and for you it might be. But if you struggle, please feel free to use one of the regressions that I just demonstrated. That's the figure 4 roll. After that, we're going to start to get into our spinal rocks. Now, again, if it hurts to roll onto your back, I have a nice thick mat here. In our gym, we have padded turf. Some people will take the mat and place it on the padded turf, so you have like a double padding. But I'll demonstrate this from the side. The thing that's important about the spine rock is that it has the T-spine mobility. So from this start position, I want to be thinking about rocking up and down in the T-spine. There's some breath that goes with this. I want to inhale as I come up, exhale as I fold in. The first rock is a very simple rock. You're just going to exhale and roll, gently roll back, gently pop up, open the T-spine and inhale. Exhale, drop, inhale, open. We're going to be doing 10 of these. When you get to your 10th rep, we're going to go into plow. Plow, the feet are straight, and you're trying to get a toe touch. Some of you may not be able to touch your toes. You may only get to like the middle of your shin. Some of you will be able to get here. Some of you can fold all the way over. That's great. So with this one, you're going to roll into what we call plow. My first few plows here are going to be a little bit stiff, so I'll demonstrate some options. There's also some breath that goes with this one. We want to inhale, exhale as we push back into plow. So you'll notice my knees are straight. Now, for some of you, you may not be able to get real far into plow. This might be your plow. When you roll out of it, inhale, open the chest. Exhale, fold into your toe touch. As you come back, inhale again. Exhale and go into plow. Inhale, open. Exhale, fold. The speed that you see me going at is about the speed that you want to maintain because there's 3 breaths that are happening there. So if you go much faster than that, you're either not breathing properly or hyperventilating. Both are bad. So we'll just do a couple reps here. The warm-up does call for 10. I'm going to see if I can do, I'm doing this a little bit cold today. I'm going to see if I can do a few reps and maybe get into a full plow. There we go. Whatever your plow variation is, do not force it into pain. If you're feeling that in any of your cervical discs, anywhere in your neck, don't do it. Keep that plow shorter. After the plow, we're going to get into the butterfly. Now, the butterfly is one of the hardest ones to rock in and out of because you don't have the counterweight of your legs. So for some of you, the butterfly stretch is just going to be what we call the hundreds. It's where you just hang out here and flap your knees a little bit. You're just trying to get those inner hips to relax a little bit. Sometimes just doing this for a little bit really helps those hips out. If you're able to rock in and out of this position, it would look like this. Notice I have those same breaths, and notice that when I roll out of that butterfly, when I roll out of that rock, I still inhale and open the chest before exhaling and folding. So a few repetitions will look like this. That is the butterfly. The last move that we're going to be doing is a compound movement. So we're going to break this down into a couple of different parts, and then we'll put them all together. I'm going to check behind me to make sure I don't have a box that I'm going to run my head into. So what we're going to start off with is I'm going to have a seat just behind the mat, and I'm going to come into the shin box position. So I'm going to drop my knees down on one side. My heel is basically touching my quad here. I've set myself up on the mat to where both my ankles and both my knees are supported. When I flip over to the other side, I'm not going to want to pick up my feet. So the biggest mistake that we see here is people will pick their feet up and kind of flip over. You don't want to do that. From here, we're just going to come up and turn over. And notice when I windshield wiper my feet over, I still end up in a position where my ankles and my knees are still on the mat. If you have very long legs, that might not work out. But the shin box roll looks like this. Notice my hand is coming up off the ground. That's okay. If you have the mobility to keep your hands super glued to the floor, you can do that as well. The next part of this move is we're going to come out of it and come up to a bridge. So we're just going to come forward here and push the hips forward. I'm going to feel a nice hip flexor stretch here in the front. Come down and have a seat, roll to the other side, and do the same thing There. If you're able to do it without your hands, even better. The next thing we're going to add to this is a fold. This is going to feel a lot like the pigeon stretch, but we're not going to be passively stretching. We're going to be doing active mobility here. So what I'm going to do here is right in the center of my shin, I'm going to look at the floor right here. That is where I'm trying to get my nose. I'm going to come out of there, roll to the other side, and do the same on this side. And if you're mobile enough to be able to get your nose all the way to the floor, you should do that. The last fold that we're going to do is across the back. Now, I'm going to pretend like my mat is the other way, and I want to make sure that I get my nose all the way to the center of that mat. The biggest mistake that we see people making here is they do not go far enough. They just go maybe here. What you want to do is go all the way over. When you feel that, you're going to feel it across your whole back, and it's going to feel really nice. It's a big T-spine mobility drill, and it should feel really good. So I'll do one here on this side, just so you can see what that looks like. When you put those all together, you get a compound mobility drill, which gets almost your entire body warmed up. So let's go ahead and give it a try. We're going to drop the knees to one side, press the hips up, get the hip flexor stretch, come back down and have a seat, fold over the shin, fold over your back. When you come through to center, flip over on the other side and repeat the same thing. Hip flexor stretch, pigeon, T-spine. If you want to, you can add a little spinal rock to it. So hopefully I don't hit anything back here. Come out. And that is going to be for 5 repetitions on each side. That last one may be really awkward and really stiff when you first start doing it. One of my favorite things about this warm-up, we do the same one every October, is as I practice these throughout the month, I love how I just get better at doing them. Like my hips open up and everything feels really good. Again, I'm demonstrating this today kind of stiff. I'm really looking forward to joining you guys this month for this warm-up because it really opens up the hips and helps everything feel really good. So guys, that is the warm-up for the month of October. We'll see you soon.